All right, good evening. Welcome tonight. Felix is my name. I'm sorry, a little bit delay. Tonight's going to be much of just on the high effect of the market. Let me first of all congratulate some of us who adhered to some of those instructions we gave about the market. And of course, you don't need to give yourself unnecessary headache. So let's look at the market overlook generally, and then starting from DXY. But there's something I always say that some of us who adhere to instruction early enough to have taken advantage of taking some profits when the market was far up here. And what I told us was that I was not too comfortable with what the market printed. I probably will not be able to have time to go into weekly time frame because it actually printed a lot of things, and the monthly candlestick that time. And then one thing for sure is that nobody can be absolutely right about the market. So what we look at in the market is to take some kind of probability, but working with a higher probability. All right. And so what I said, so those of you who took advantage of it, what I see specifically, I said, those of us who have to a reasonable portfolio and you have your account, then that it was very, very important to some of us to take some profit and put in PAYNET ecosystem, FMC Pay. All right. The reason for saying that, I think I need to quickly clear it. Yeah, some of us were afraid. Of course, it's not your fault if you're afraid because we lost a lot of money in platforms. And so we probably can be afraid or skeptical of who knows, because what if those companies actually disappeared? But one of the first things that make me to actually give that recommendation, I know a lot of us will be under pressure, right? Because of as the market was doing. And of course, not everyone know how to navigate probably into trading and other things. Now, and that was why I make that recommendation. And for the fact that we have been on PAYNET ecosystem FMC Pay by next month, May 2025. For instance, I will be 3 years on the project, but that's not a yardstick anyway. But the most important aspect is that if you look at the market, for anyone who had refused to take some profit that time when I said, I didn't say you should take the profit and waste it. What I said was that take the profit and plant in some money into the PAYNET ecosystem. The reason is not far-fetched. Number one, we know that definitely some of us with family issues, demand here and there, we're going to need money to solve some family issues. So for that, you can have a place where there's a kind of salary coming for you as an entrepreneur or as a business person, as it were. And that was why I make that recommendation. Secondly, like I said, the way the market was going, and I told us that the way this market was going, practically speaking, it was going to be going down. Of course, my first target on the market was purely $90,000 and bonus of $110,000. Don't get it twisted, please, because when I talk that way, a lot can misunderstand. They can misunderstood me to like say, Whitefell is giving this verdict that this market is going to happen the way he just said it and all of that. So, in all said and done, so the second reason is that if the market is going to be crashing and we are going to probably have a bounce at a point in time, so there was a need for us to have some fund. For instance, if anyone who was on profit, let's take it from here, who was on profit from when Bitcoin was Bitcoin was at the 105, 106,000 to the present place we are now. That means you have lost about 20 something percent of your portfolio if your money is in Bitcoin purely, all right? And that means you have lost. And so if Bitcoin is going to come down to, I told us about $73,000. So that's about 31% before we could have a bounce. Now, if we do have a bounce from that point, right, what is the fate that we're going to return back to this point? So probably we may just return back to 85, 87,000 or 90, 93,000 or perhaps up to 98,000. After then, we crash, and that means we are back to bear markets. Now, sometime, are we not still going to have Bitcoin go back to 100 and something thousand? Now, take note, that will happen if we can flip above 109,000. Please take note. We will only have that, and I can tell you that if we can have that and flip, I plot some of my instrument, my kind of tools I used to check the market, and what I was getting was at about $175 to $176,000. Now, but is it a guarantee? Now, even if it's going to happen, before it happens, you probably will have melted away because the market has done. So if Bitcoin could crash for about 20-something% up to 30%, then you should know that altcoins like Solana, like my target on Solana was that Solana was going to come down to $95, right? So that if Solana come down to $95, then I'll probably be looking for a buy. So the journey is very close. I've been saying it when Solana was up there, and then especially when we now crash and broke this region, right, which was $180 region. So Solana actually did 296, almost $300. Yeah. So now, so for anyone who was smart enough, or probably, will I say smart, or okay, who listened to himself, because I was not picking it as a verdict that you should do what I do, but I was only expressing it as a kind of friendly advice, right? So that when the market continued to crash, let's say you took out, somebody who was having portfolio, let's look at it, somebody with portfolio of $200,000 or $300,000, for instance. So $300,000 you have as a portfolio, and if they are domiciled in altcoin, in fact, if they are memecoin, they have melted already. So if they are domiciled in altcoin, let's say altcoin had crashed by 70%. So let's look at it. Let's look at Solana, for instance. From here, now Solana has crashed about 50 to about almost 60% crash from that point up there, right? So assuming your portfolio that you were celebrating, right? Your portfolio you were celebrating was at $200,000 and was predominantly on Solana, some other altcoins and all of that. And they've crashed by 50 to 60%. Let's call it 50%. So that means if you take out 50% of $300,000, you have $150,000. Now, what I said that time is that I said, those of you who have portfolio of 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, it's okay. Just take out 30,000 or probably 60,000. I think I'd even use for the people who are having $150,000 portfolio. And what I said was that take out how much? Take out 30,000 and lock it into PAYNET ecosystem, which is going to give you about 10 slots. And if you give you about 10 slots, which is 3,000 times 10, 30,000, that's going to be printing out on a monthly basis, $270 times 10, which is about $2,700. And that gives us 9% every month, right? Now, but it drops every day. For instance, that's the $9 multiplied by 10, right? That's $90. So that means you're going to be generating about $90 on a daily basis. So for that, you should be fine, right? Then the whole idea is this. Even the same token itself, right? The same token itself, let me just go here. All right, so CoinGecko, right? Or CoinMarketCap, anywhere. So which one that first come? CoinMarketCap. Right? So now, when I said, if now this is another meticulous thing we do inside of the platform, that we can segment our account transaction into 3 or 4 segments. Number one, you can pick one segment for buying, for converting into the token called pay-in, right? Converting part of it into a token called pay-in. And why are you actually doing that? Because people who were doing that last 2 years, 3 years, they have maximized the ecosystem. An example we did was a very simple one, that somebody with $3,000, for instance, who was collecting and putting into the token when the token was predominantly at 8 cents. The token don't move massively like that. It's not a trading, well, it's a boring trading coin. So if you want to trade the coin, it's going to be very boring, right? So we say, okay, if I'm taking out, perhaps, if I'm taking out, let's say, at about, just half of it, and somebody was converting and withdrawing his own $270 every month in the paying token at the price of 8 cents, 10 cents, we discovered that the fellow, at the close of the transaction, had gathered over 50 something thousand of the token. And then when the token was at 30 cents, even 50 cents, now it's 56, 57. It came down to 49 cents and all of that, or 47, 45 cents. So we said somebody with 58,000 of the pay-in token. And when we did the calculation, what we got was massive. So imagine 58,000 of the token multiplied by 0.5, 56, something like that. That's about $32,000 of an investment of $3,000. Please take note. Now, why are we crazy about the project? Though from the beginning, we do not have so much understanding around the project because of course, we have a lot of issues around our platforms and all of that. But when we saw the clarity, but many people were not much interested because 9% in a month was okay. If I can make 9% of 30,000 every month, and so in 12 months, I will have generated about 105% give and take. That means I've made another $30,000. Now, guess what? By the time Bitcoin crashed down to, let me say, by the time Bitcoin crashed down to, let's look at it. Don't mind me, I'm not giving you a verdict. So, say, fellas, say Bitcoin is going to crash down to so a month. Please be careful. Don't put a trigger on my head. Say it never happened. Well, so I'm not a soothsayer, all right? So now by the time Bitcoin crashed down, maybe over time, so let's look at it on a weekly time frame, right? So by the time Bitcoin crashed down to, okay, so you can see why I'm telling you guys about $73,000, $72,000. So by the time Bitcoin now have it way down to 67,000, and of course, when we now have the total bear market, right? When we cross this below, because where we still are is good, we can still be rolling and bounce up again. Probably we'll return back to 85,000 and crash again, or if we can make our way back to where we crashed from, but I doubt. So this move up will get up to $85,000, and then we're looking for another shot. But if we're able to break all of those points and all of go over, right? So by the time we now crash to that 73,000, then make our way back to 67,000, and down rigmarole down to, and then so finish up all the journey. That's about 61,000, $61,000. Then go we are back to better, that 40,000, and eventually have the total crash of where not necessarily the former bottom, but of course looking at about $23,000. Now the question you ask yourself, when Bitcoin come back to the bear market, perhaps $23,000 or $21,000, do you have any reserve? All right. Do you have any reserve that you use to buy up altcoins or other coins you have missed? Now, because crypto is not the, sometimes the way some of us view it, it beyond what people just tell you, oh, Bitcoin did. That's why I would tell our friends that you need to understand Operation Do It Yourself. And the best thing you need to do, Operation Do It Yourself, is just have access to reasonable information, basic navigations, and following just simple direction and all of that. So for those of you who took that ground, it will have been a lot simpler for you. And because, well, I'm not seeing the chance or strength that Bitcoin was going to be breaking above all of those regions. We have been failing consistently in the channel. And so we just have this one to hold now, $76,000. And then when we're able to break that, we come to perhaps, maybe if you didn't give us that now, for rally back up, I'm already on long positions, right? On Bitcoin already. Yeah, but which was more risky. I actually sent a signal on the group, right? I think I sent, yeah, so I'm already on long, both in my future trading for Bitcoin and on my Forex account, right? And I said I entered earlier on my Forex that I don't care much on, right? But sometimes the child you less or the student you underrate, we perform and so very fantastic stuff, right? So I'm already on long position, right? For now, because yesterday I saw the crash. Now it was coming, and of course weekend can be very busy. So I'm already on long position. You ask me, Felix, can I long? Well, if you know you, but what I gave, the instruction I gave on the group was that use small lot size or leverage, maybe 5 leverage for people who are on our paid, both of you in private membership and those of us in our paid subscribe futures and then Forex platform, right? So I'm already on long. Probably if you want to see that. Yeah, so let me see. So most time we have issues because we don't want to pay attention to things that works, and we believe more hypes than reality, and that's one of the biggest problems today. Yeah, so but this is the point. Now, when you're trading, you should know that you're going to record some losses. Yeah, so those of you who are watching live, those of you who are following, and then if you already know what you're doing right, you probably want to find a entry that's like a day trader, right? So because sorry, let me just come up here. Okay, so if I show you here right now, okay. Now, these are part of the thing I told. Please, if you are watching us.
Recording in progress. Recording in progress. Recording in progress. Recording in progress. Recording in progress.
All right. So if you're watching us live, right? And so what we encourage people to do is to pay attention to basic navigation functions and so that you can be in charge of your business. Now, so let's look at business market general in its interface, right? So we said the first as a major parameter, if you're a trader. Now, even if you're not a trader, please take note of that. Either you're a trader or not, if you are an investor or you are business or market participant. So let's take that way. If you're a market participant, there are a few things that are very, very crucial for you. For instance, we've talked about the stock market have been crashing since, of course, change of guard in America, right? So there are so many macro system or indicators or factors responsible for that, but that's not our point of discussion. But we look at market overview generally. So those of us who are trading, you can now see that even in Forex trading right now, you trade crypto instrument there and all of that. So you need to have an idea of how it works. And it's a lot easier, right? So now this is DXY we call US dollar index. Now, one thing we want to know in all the financial instrument, they tend to take an opposite direction of the DXY. That's the US dollar index. That's strength of the dollar, right? So when the dollar got weakened, good number of instruments that you can pick their strength against US dollar, then you're going to be seeing buying opportunity in them. And then when the US dollars is now strengthening, you're going to be seeing selling opportunity in some of those instruments, especially those of you trade Forex, right? Now, so the first you want to look at when you have a crash in US dollar index is the Euro USD. Most of you who have been following us on our channel, you agree that I've been always doing analysis of DXY against, against, what's it called? US dollar against, DXY. And I told us here previously before the market took off from here that we have a bullish divergence for US dollar against euro currency. And I said, you don't need to waste or give yourself unnecessary stress. It's just to take advantage of the opposite movement, dollar. So dollar crashing, euros trending. And now what we had last 2 weeks or so was a massive push down and into a key level. Because I think I remember telling us that, excuse me, that the US dollar, Euro USD, DXY was actually pumping, right? At a point, and that's what you have. There was the nice shallow move. And I said, if we're going to have a rejection, then with that rejection, we can have a pump up and all of that. So you can just walk yourself through, all of those sequential movement of US dollar, and then, Euro USD, especially the first instrument I recommend for beginners who are trading Forex is Euro USD. I'm not the type that trade currency so that much because after wasting so much of my energy to do analysis on currency, the number of people it's going to give to me is not worthwhile. So that's why I trade more of commodities, metal, which is gold, and then the Bitcoin, as it were, Bitcoin, then the derivatives on commodity like US 30 and then NAS 100, as it were. All right. So you want to ask me, hey, Felix, what are we going to have? So we have a very massive pullback last week because this is a very great move for Euro USD last week. And so we have a very massive pullback the last day, which was on Friday. So perhaps what do we want to have? If we can have a clump down to the key level, the beginning of the market this week, then that means we can have a continuation. So what you want to have is to have a pullback of this market. And of course, you want to have continuation of the DXY, right? Perhaps pullback back to this key level and a rejection. So when you have a nice rejection here, you want to be buying euro to be taking your profits up, probably probably looking at taking your profits over at another key level. That's about 1.117 region and all of that if you're able to catch a moment here. Let me quickly go to gold because I don't have so much time tonight. And just to give you an aha, I think one of my mentee last week, I'm sure you were here, and we always, it's my trading partner. We always trade together. So, and we trade gold so much, right? And I was telling him about the crash that was going to happen to gold. And then telling him to be careful because of I already saw that movement and that was a very massive one. So then gold, I haven't retested it. That was a very good one. I expect here and here, and that was fantastic. So that means if I have a little retracement down for this, then we should have a very parabolic move for gold again this week. But if we cannot have that breaking down to this point, then we're going to have some sluggish movement. So for you, if you are trading gold and you're a day trader, it will be good for you to go down, narrow down to a lower time frame to scalp gold at the bottom, right? So that to scalp gold with the lower time frame, maybe 5-minute time frame, 1-minute time frame, but you have to know what you're doing per time in order to do that, okay? And that's for gold. And so we still have continuation of crash on the stock market, and that's why you have the NAS 100 and US 30 and S&P 500 planning to crash as fat as possible. So major key levels were broken, and then that's what it is. And so you should expect anything. Now going back to Bitcoin, like I said, Bitcoin, you can see like when I find an entry on Bitcoin, right? So like I said, Bitcoin market close today, if we're able to have a little push down, then we can rally it up back again to about 83, 84, $85,000 if possible. And then we have continuation of our crash or continue sideways move before a massive move up. So you don't need to just waste too much of your time on sitting down when you can see it's almost of massive move in the market right now. You can always have some, some gradual good move that you can take some profit. For people who are trading Forex, that's why I told you that those of you who, if you are trading Forex and you're actually looking for small move, you will have taken profit by now because if I open my trade for you guys, I don't do this normally, right? But if I open my trade, I should be running on probably right now, but I'm not used to scalping, right? And so, but in between, you can always get a lot of scalp. Okay, let me check first here. Where are you? Sorry, just want to open up here. Come on. Oh, network, terrible. Very bad. Okay, so I have it bar right now, so a massive pullback happening. All right. And I would tell us, most time people always think that trading is damn easy. It's not true. Trading is not easy. Psychological stress of trading is high. And so most times, so look at it. I send a signal to our group, right? So now if I tell you that this trade was on $150 drawdown when I entered, you won't believe it, right? So when I entered, it was on 100 and something drawdown, yeah, because after here it was coming down. Now, this I've already sacrificed whatever's going to happen. That means I was going to have a massive, loss if it come down to my stop loss, which was unreasonable. But I think by the time it's able to take out this new high created right now, then it will have the movement up to this rate. That's $81,286, right? And then that's going to be a very good one and all of that. So now, and if you look at it, or send a signal to some of us on our group, yeah, here. That's what I said. So look at it here. Actually send the signal over here. Yeah, you can see here. Okay. Then you can see when I sent this one. Yeah. So I think I was gisting with one of my protege too, and I told him I'm entering, but it's risky. All right. And so you have to understand risk management for you to be in charge properly so that you will not disrupt your activity. So, but if you don't pay attention to important knowledge, then you're going to be so emotional. And one of the things I've always told people is the fact that when it has to do with business, prepare chances for you making loss. Now, and one of the things I've discovered is that if you're not ready for loss, you probably will not make profit. Yeah, that's true. And that's why I was sharing with somebody the other time. I say it's going to be very difficult for a Ponzi scheme to be stopped in Africa because we hardly love to take personal responsibility. And now, not ready to take personal responsibility. Most time, people want to trade and they don't want to see red candle. They don't want to see drawdown and all of that. There is no magic of that. Even if you are sleeping in the market, you can have that. Okay. All right. So the other area I will have to go. So like I said, probably we should have a little push up for Bitcoin, right? So if I look at what's my 4 hours, okay, and it's coming more difficult for Bitcoin anyway, because this push up down is almost getting rejected on 4 hour time frame. That's not a good one. Yeah, so that's not a good one for Bitcoin because these are major key levels. So we're supposed to have, so anyway, when the market open, so you got to be careful anyway. Those of you who are scalping, you enter when I sent, you should be in profit. You can take your profit and all of that because you want to have the market to push down and rally up massively at the market opening today. So we need to take out this to go above at least 80K, then we can close this long displacement, very long one, right? So if you go to 1 hour, let's look at it. You can see that's a massive one, right? Good. So find our way back up to 80. So here first, so $81,000. That would make a lot of sense, but it's a little bit more dangerous, right? So let's look at 30 minutes of time. So you don't want to have all these multiple ways from here. So it's quite dangerous, right? And so if you're on trade, you want to use a very tight stop loss because this is another point of rejection, 80,000. But getting to 80,000, you're already in some good money if you are on the trade earlier when I ask people to enter the trade, as it were. All right. So then, so that's what it is. Now, for those of us who are trading synthetics, we use WellTrade for synthetics, right? And for me, I trade on synthetics and I still trade on derivative. The reason is this: I love to trade boom and crash. And the boom, oh wow, I missed out today. Man, this is serious. Let me just refresh this guy. So I love to trade boom and crash. My favorite boom on the reef, it's boom 1000. And of course, it's beginner friendly, and that's why I recommended it for anyone who just coming into trading boom and crash. And because the lot size can be manageable, all right, for beginner, not to have too much negative impact in their trading. And that's why I recommended that for a beginner who want to trade a boom and crash, probably on the reef. So, but synthetics, so we have a lot of fantastic instrument on the, right? A lot of fantastic instrument on the, sorry, just go here. Fantastic instrument on the WellTrade. But one of the things I will always tell people, okay, ooh, okay, it was just today. Okay, I think I was so busy. I couldn't come on to this guy. All right, so the style I use in trading my synthetics, boom and crash. Let's go here. Okay. So synthetic trading is another fantastic environment. Yeah. So I trade more of boom 1000 and probably crash 1000. So now why I recommend boom 1000 instead of boom 300 for beginners, that boom 300 is 1-to-1. And so a spike on it can take you a drawdown $75 over time. And so, but in boom 1000, you can use 0.2, which is 20 cents per pip. So 20 cents. So if you are at loss of 10 pips, you can say 0.2 multiplied by 10, 20 pips, 50 pips. But on boom 300, if you are losing 50 pips, it's already $50. So you have to register that. And anything can happen against your movement, and then you have it a shutdown, right? So that's why I will say, okay, if you want to trade, boom, just face, oh, I was on this trade for a very long time. Short, I think, because I short it, and then it moved massively. I've even forgotten, but I'm sure it must have closed by now because look at it on 15 minutes. Yeah, must have closed by now. That's about some days back. Wow, wow, wow. Amazing. So that's why we recommended that down. So on WellTrade, so where we trade, so many synthetic instrument and all of that, WellTrade. So let me go to WellTrade. So if you're on our group, you don't know about WellTrade, or I'm just introducing that to you right now. And I'm sure a lot of people on the group, we hardly read messages on the group. And so now that you're on live session, that's going to give you an idea too about those things that are obtainable on our platform, right? Yeah, so WellTrade, we equally have chatting segment for it. And once you registered on the group, we show you how to use WellTrade platform to trade. Of course, still on MT5, right? So these are different instruments of WellTrade. My favorite instrument is 80 and all of that. But so I probably wouldn't go about showing you some of those detail right now. So, but you can lock in yourself to make a lot of money trading this. But this is the thing I tell friends: you can't trade, right? Without having your strategy in place. No matter how technically sound you are in trading, and without good strategy and even financial management, you can make money, but you give the money back to the market. And that's why we encourage people for basic learning. One of the fantastic thing again on WellTrade is that we have our Dean of Forex running 90 days challenge. So if you're on our group, you've been hearing about that. You can join the challenge. Once you registered, you join the group, follow every day, Monday to Friday, to see how some trades are taken live, and then you follow and then make money. And the operation is 90 days to record 1,500%. If you can follow the simple step and instruction given, and then to record this. So WellTrade is a fantastic, another opportunity and all of that. A good thing I was experimenting, and I'm not done yet, right? Because last week I was so busy on challenge account, I was trying to manage up, and I have to trade much of my challenge account last week. And so that's what brings us to about aspect of AKASHX. You've heard us talk about AKASHX. What's exactly that? Now, I've said it that if you're a newcomer and you don't want to register on Plan B, because we are training basic mastery, Forex basic mastery training, future and all of that. You don't want, then we said go and register on AKASHX. AKASHX, register, pay $99, $999 for a year, have access to all the education. And after that, you are given a free challenge account. Yeah, 200,000 free challenge account. Free. So you're not paying for that. It's a bonus for you. You come in and pay for the academy, $999, right? So you can even say that have edge more than Plan B training. Why? Because in Plan B training, just for you to subscribe for learning, right? Okay, they are fine, but you can be put through mentorship and all of that, just direction. But on the AKASHX #1, you register, you have access to so many things, the academy, the live sections, tap to trade, what the trade alert, and all of those things, you have access to it. And the good thing is that if you come to AKASHX through us in Plan B, then we now give you access to our own follow-up training and even free signal, right? So you have access to that. So $999, and then you have access to 200,000 fund to trade your market. Yes, you heard me right. That's what you have access to. That's 200,000. But if you subscribe for monthly, which is about $149 and one-time payment of $30, which make $179 when you first come in. The subsequent month, $149. So that gives you access of 10,000 challenge account, and then of course in Plan B, that will give you access to just the Signal group, and of course, I think Signal group and even yearly. And so the capital extent we're using, we have told everybody, everyone try and register on your capital extent, verify your account, because when we going to open up the copy trading platform where you can make passive income, right? You don't give your money to us, you fund your capital extent, and we show you how to connect with the master trading. That's how to connect to my trading, okay, so that you get it clarified. Not a robot, okay? So not a robot. You get connected to my account. And of course, the other necessary thing you need to understand to do the setup properly are there. And then we can maximize a lot of things. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that's what we have for you tonight. And so there's so many opportunities you can maximize, build up yourself, and then make money. But above all, I've told us the market is what it is. If we can have it rallied up, up to 80,000, 85,000, that's going to make a lot of sense. And then after then, you want to watch out for another heavy crash, right? Yeah, and that's what we'll be doing, right? We're going to be doing that. And why people will be telling you, oh, we're going to $1 million. Yeah, sure. But not now. So we don't know what time it's going to be. So some told you, oh, market must get to, can it get to 200,000 in this cycle? Why not? Possible. But I'm very more bearish than bullish, right? Because my target was already met. That doesn't mean that another person's target will not be met, right? So, but for me, I'm not seeing the chances of we, rolling up just like that. There are a whole lot of things. And so, and I remember I've told us that when the market cycle is moving in crypto, and when do we envisage market crash coming? We envisage market crash coming when the mainstream media start talking so much about the market. Yes, you heard me right. So when they start talking so much about the market, especially positive talk, then you have to be very careful. Yeah. When they are so much positive, they are telling you, oh, market, they can tell you the price of Bitcoin for the first time surpasses the price of gold. They tell you so many things, right? They tell you so many things. Come on, guys. That is an inducement. For me, I'm no longer comfortable when it comes to that. And especially when you have looked at the market technically, I know that the market has done well. And to an extent, we should be having this. So the good thing is that all of those things align with even the technical arrangement, right? And then people go, oh, well, market's going to be that, this. Oh, Bitcoin is going to $1 million and all of that. So everybody gets so much excited. And that, for me, that's an exit point for all of those institutions or some of those capitalists, right? And so you carry the bag, they take the profit. And now, so I know a lot of us make a lot of mistakes because we don't appreciate simple information and instruction. They look so odd, they look so unreal, and then, but we believe hype's more. And now oh man, let me show you a coin that's going to do 1,000,000% in all of that. We have had that before. We have a group of people setting up platform. Oh, we're going to give you a coin that will do 1,000x and all of that. And the question I asked sometimes, I said, why do such group didn't discover Shiba Inu and some other coin that have given more than that 1,000% they were talking, right? So you have to wake up to actually build yourself, health, and all of that. But above all, like I said, trading is not what you think, right? And so most people start trading and start, strategizing how to flip an account. Trading is a career, it's a job, and you have to treat it, and it's a business. So you have to be meticulous and then be strategic in your activities so that you don't just come, oh, I want to get Lambo and all of that. It's not like that. It's more than what you think, right? And that's one of the things. So, and finally, I'll tell us, you enter a trade. That's why you see this scale. For instance, look at this scale. So this is 1.80 something percent, okay? So this is 1.80 something percent. So let me take it to be 2%, right? And so a man who was in this trade, right? And used stop loss here at $77,538, right? And then targeting to take profit, whichever way, maybe up here or anywhere below, right? So maybe 1:2. It doesn't really matter. Now, what happened now is that the market returned back to $77,550 something dollars. Now, and if it's future, for instance, and you use 5x, so let's say you use 5x. So 5x, if it's 10 from 5x, and so 5x multiplied by 2 will be 10%. And so you're trading with just $100 or $200 as your cost. That's not the total money, but part of the money you input into the market. And so let's say it's $200. Now, 20%, okay, 10% of $200, that's about $20, right? So that means you're going to lose $20 of that, your money, right? So, but if the market move up to where we expect and all of that, maybe you expect to come there, this 1:3, for instance, meaning that if I put in money and I say, okay, this is this, and the market eventually go up there, so with about 5.5%. So let's call it 5%. So 5% multiplied by 5, right? That's about 25%. Yeah. So 25%. Okay. So 10% of $200, that's $20. So 25% of $200, that's about $50. So that means you're going to make about $50. Now, if the market eventually, and that's what you do all of these are risk management, right? Now, if the markets actually, maybe they didn't get up there and then you discover that you have done some profit and then you are good to go and the market is not giving you what you want. And then you look at, oh, the market probably will just get over here and stop going up. and then you want to exit, then you take your profit, right? So, but stop loss is very, very important. Some person will say, I don't want to use stop loss, but please, if you're a beginner, don't try it. Because sometimes when you do not use stop loss, something can come up and you leave the market and go away, especially those of you who are scalping. If you're a swing trader, it's not an issue. The market will run. I've been in market, you run into profits because no stop loss, no take profit. And then it went back to it went to profit where it supposed to have taken profit, return back to losses again, and then continue in that order. So, but don't do that. So that you can even measure your win rate. So you put in the stop loss, take profit. And so you say, when the market return back, it cut me out. And at the time it cut you out, you can find another entry opportunity. And of course, so let's say you trade, such instrument 3 times or 4 times, and you lose 1 and you win 2 or 3, or you lose 2 and win 2. And so if it's 1:2 minimum, so that means if you lose 1, right, the first one you lose 10% in quest of making 20%, right? The second one, you lose another 10%. That's about 20%, right? Now, so the third one, you actually win, which is already 20%, right? So only one win had crossed, and that's the essence of risk management. One loss, one profit will overrule 2 losses, and then the other second profit will now give you the real profit. And that's why, all this risk management are very, very crucial and important for you to fixing into your trading. Does that make sense? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure many of us, please pay attention on the group, and when you are trading or when you are investing, don't entertain unnecessary fear and don't plan yourself. I always say this, plan your work and work your plan. That's what's going to, if you're not disciplined enough to plan your work, and it's not enough to be disciplined in planning work, are you disciplined enough to follow those plans? That's working your plan. That's what's going to generate the profits you're looking for. And I've said, lastly, trading is not about making profit. Trading is more of being profitable. Trading is not about making profits. Trading is about being profitable. So learn how to be profitable than just to make profit. Because somebody can make 1 profit, then tomorrow he will lose all the profits. So does it really make sense? It doesn't really make sense at all, right? So some other thing you think that it's so difficult. They are not. It's because we don't plan ourselves, right? And that's one of the things I have seen in most of us traders and all of that. You can see what I told you, that this guy, so at the market open, right? So those of you who probably were in, if you just to take small bulk, and then you take, but at the end of the day, you take off. Let's look at it, Bitcoin. Yeah, so it's continuing to range. Eventually, we'll go up to the $81,000, like I said. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, so congratulations. If you're watching, I've told you, if you're in our group, you have not registered on all of those brokers we said, especially the 90 days challenge that's going on World Trade. Go to the group, pick the link, register. Either you are verified or not. Even when you join the trading, they can just put you through if you have not verified your account and show you how to get the account verified, right? Very, 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 very sweet. The experience has been amazing. And a lot of people have been following the procedure. We've told them it's not about even the money you want to make. You want to have the skill set, right? You want to have the skill set. So even when the challenge is over, you still be in charge, right? Making money is simpler than even eating food. Eating food is more difficult than making money. But one of the greatest issues is managing money. It's where the skill is lacking. So a good number of people don't know how to manage money, right? So we can make money, but managing is one of the difficult aspects and all of that, all right? So fantastic instrument we're trading there, and people are making a lot of money. Yes, losing is part of the game. Yeah, especially in trading, never. Don't let anyone deceive you. Oh, I trade, I don't make loss. It's not true. Just run away from that person. Don't make loss. How do you mean? Just run away. Person is not being real. Okay, somebody's asking questions. I'm done with gold. Maybe you came late. I'm done with gold. You came late. The fellow was asking no analysis on gold. I'm done with gold. Yeah. So probably you just come late, and that's why you didn't know where we talk about gold. Yeah. We talk about gold. So we want to see a rally in gold that after the pushback, probably after a pushback down to 3021, that's 3021 before we have a buy, probably rally up back to 3082 before we have up to 3120, 3120 and all of that. We should be finding a buying opportunity on gold, right? This week, and that's what I say. Yeah, but we got to be careful anyway because the market is heavily induced, and so we have to be very careful because I think the stock market crash taking a very strong move, and so you have to be extraordinarily careful. Okay. So guys, so that's what we have tonight. So thank you very much for coming. Let's go and work on ourselves. And so take profit, make money. Oh, somebody say, what about ICP? Okay, well, see, guys, when it has to do with all these cryptos, let me just quickly jump back on all of them. Yeah. You remember Bitcoin is still crashing, right? If you look at the trade I enter, say it's a risky trade, right? And so let me just open the ICP. The fellow was asking. Because if you check my trade that is on $200 profit, now if we return back there, I should be in a very big negative. So let me check ICP. So ICP is at $4. So ICP is still going to crash, right? Because Bitcoin has not gotten to a bottom, right? What's this one? Solana is the 102. And I say I'm expecting it at where are you? Where are you? ICP. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. ICP. Good. Okay. I'm sorry. I just want to bring up ICP. The person was asking of ICP. Just understand most of the altcoins are still going to go down, right? For the fact that I'm expecting, so please take note for the fact that I'm expecting Solana. Yeah. Okay, now good. This is ICP. So for the fact that I'm expecting Solana at $95 does not mean, so let me go there, does not mean that it cannot go to maybe $123, $125 before you go. Okay, ICP, if Bitcoin could rally up, which I doubt, because the first move it has taken now, it has pushed it back again and all of that. But in Bitcoin could rally up, so ICP could go to, that's if you're a scalper, those of you are a scalper, so rallied up to $4.8 and all of that. That is if you're a scalper. If you're a scalper, yeah, that's the only thing. If you're not a scalper, just I don't think you need to disturb yourself over anything now. Right? That's what you need to do. So if you are not a scalper, a day trader, be careful. Right? So if you're not a scalper, a day trader, wait for the market close tonight and open tomorrow. And then when you are able to have a fantastic bullish confirmation, then you want to trade. But for scalpers who are risk averse and can take risk, why not? You can enter long on the ICP. But if you are looking at when will it recover, maybe not now. So if you look at it, this is, let's say, go to 2%. Let's go to 2%. Let's go to 2%, right? 2%, just to be conservative. So 1:2. Okay, this is 4. Okay, 1:2. So for scalper, you can take profit at 4.8. So for swing trader or intraday trader, you may target up to 4.9. Yeah. As if Bitcoin gain the strength, the momentum is creating. So I say my target in Bitcoin probably return back to 81,000, 84,000, 85,000. Then you can find this guy. But these guys are more volatile, the altcoins. So, but if you buy and you're holding, hope of like when will it recover to where you bought it from, and especially when you buy at $8, $10, $12. Oh, man, this is not that recovery. You can't get that recovery. If you want to just do future on it, probably just to take some bulk or profits. Let's see, look at it here. This is about 4. So if you use 5x, or you use 10x, you use 10x, you can do 40, 50% on your money, and so you can do that. So you can long ICP, even other altcoins. The Bitcoin is going to rally up. They too can take some little leaps up, and then so like look at Solana too. So Solana too can rally up. So let's look at Solana here. So you can find Solana rally up here. Let's say back to 120 something. That's a Bitcoin could push so much. So let me say 2%, 2 point something percent. So let's say 120, 121, $22, give and take. That's big anyway. 14, that if he's going to have that way. So, but you have to now beg Mr. B, right, to respect himself and rally it up too, like I said. So these are stop point for it. So if you're able to rally up to $81,000, 82, up to back to $85,000, then you can find Solana to 120. And that's a big money for you. Those of you who want to look at it that way. So Bitcoin, Solana, so link is not really favorable to an extent, right? So ICP, the person who has about ICP, Solana, you can long it. If you want to long Solana, you can long Solana. So you can long the person who has about ICP, you can long ICP, right? But you have to understand what you're doing, okay? If you want to long ICP, you can long ICP, long Solana, okay? So perhaps can even go to $5, but conservatively. So if you want to protect your trade much, okay? So if you're on the group, let me send it on the group so that you can see it. The person will have a question, so I can send it on the Telegram group. So if you're on the Telegram group, you can check it there on our Telegram group on the futures orientation. That's cash flow system. So I'm going to post it there now. Crypto. I just hope I'm going to see it. Okay, I will just post it on. This is Forex. Okay, this is crypto futures. So I pasted it already. If you are on the group, you're going to find it there. So the same way, Solana. So the same way, Solana. Let me take it up. Okay, yeah, that's it, Solana. So let's take it there. So I posted it too already, okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, do have a nice rest and bye-bye.